Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Monday. How's everyone doing? Welcome back to yet another stream. As always, we're going to give it a couple of minutes for people to join in. And then we can begin. Actually, I will do another one of those IG promos. Uno momento. Welcome back, everybody. How's everyone's weekend? What did you guys get up to over the weekend? Mine was pretty good. You know what? I actually can't believe how fucking quick the weekend went. It was just like that. It wasn't really a weekend, I'll be honest. It was just the same as most of my week. I guess one different thing I did, which was very nice. I went to a friend's birthday, like a dinner, a birthday dinner, which was very, very nice. Saw some familiar faces, which was great. But besides that, we're just working, bro. We are just working. All right. Let me take a picture, and I'll put this on my story, and then we can jump into it, guys. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Also, has anyone here, since starting, like watching the first live streams, for anybody who has not already got an agency, aka people that are just starting out, is anyone here like already started now, thanks to the live streams? You know, so after watching my live events and now understanding the overall premise of OFM, how to get started, how to get your first client, watching the sales school breakdown, etc. Based off of those, you have now taken action steps to actually, starting getting your first client and making money. I'm just curious. Or is everyone here kind of just watching along and then at some point going to start? Yeah. Started. I'm here from your school community. Ah, nice, Aubrey. I got you. Louise, yeah, we started. Very good. Very good. Yeah, man. Yeah, you guys just take action, innit? Like that's really the key to business as a whole. It is just to take action. Don't wait for the right moment, because there is no right moment, Don't ever think, oh, I'm going to start once I know a little bit more, once I feel like I know it all. That doesn't happen. You just have to start, and then you make a few little mistakes, and you learn from it, and then, that's how you progress. Right, just a few more minutes, guys, and then we're going to go into today's lesson. All right. Red is also inside of the school community. Cool. Very good. I need to learn about the business first. Yes, action steps need to be taken. Right moment is now. Yeah, correct. I have my circle in my back. I have my circle in my back. Ma, what do you mean by that? I have my circle in my back. I don't know what that means. From Nigeria, have signed one model already. Yes, go. Very good. Facts. Too many people focus on captions and not action. Yeah, exactly. Congrats on the first client, by the way. How do you do the marketing? That was last live stream. So after this live event, go on my YouTube channel and watch back the previous live recording, and then you'll be able to watch it there. Do you usually do the comment baiting in every social media platform? Not for every single client, but it is a great strategy. It just depends. It just depends which client, depends how much money we're making from them, etc. So yeah. All right, guys. So the story is live. The school post is out. I think it's time. This thing is time to rumble, everybody. All right. Football Flicks said, "What do you do, bro?" I'm a professional shoe cleaner. That's what I do. That is what we do, baby. There's lots of money in that. If you do a lot of it, and very well. If you're the world's best shoe cleaner, yeah, baby. All right, cool. And I think we're ready to jump into it, all right? Okay, sweet. So everybody, welcome back to the next lesson. Today, we're going to be talking all about chatting, which is where 80% of the money and the sales are going to happen, right? So far, we have covered everything you need to know until this specific moment, right? So you should understand the business model, you should know the right mindset, you should know what systems to use, you should know how to actually get a prospect on a call, what to do on the call, what to say, how, and so on. And then once you've onboarded that client, how to do the marketing, right? And once you've done the marketing correctly, and you're getting a bunch of people, aka the subscribers, over to the platform of OnlyFans, well, now it is time to actually monetize and make that money. And 80% or more of your income should be generated through the messages, right? Which is obviously the main principle of OnlyFans, right? So a lot of people, including me, when I first started this, are like, why do guys even, typically guys, like I think it's like 99% of the subscribers, maybe not 99, but anyway, most of the subscribers are men, right, on this platform of OnlyFans. And most people, including myself, were like, why do they even go on there and why do they even spend money? When if it's the adult content that they want to see, there's a lot of websites where you can see this stuff for free. So why do they even come on here? And there's many reasons that you can think of and try to explain and blah, blah. But the main thing is that kind of connection, right? Is that exclusivity to talk to the person, or at least feel like you're talking to the person, getting exclusive content from the person, and so on and so on, which you cannot get in other platforms, right? In other platforms, you will just get a random video that was recorded and that is it. There's nobody to talk to, you're not talking to the person, and you also cannot get like exclusive content from that person. It's just what they've already pre-made, okay? Now, with OnlyFans, that is obviously the unique selling point, right? Again, whether you love it or hate it, I'm sure most of you guys, watching by this point, couldn't give a fuck. We're just here to make money, right? It is what it is. Now, this is where the majority of money is made because typically people will just subscribe and they'll spend, maybe between 5 to 10, 15, maybe 20, $25 on the subscription fee. So again, just to kind of explain to completely beginners, it's a subscription-based service like OnlyFans, right? So you can have a free account, but typically most are paid. So the subscriber will see the girl on Instagram, for example, think she's hot, whatever, want to see some more content of her. Then he will go over to her OnlyFans, and then typically he has to pay a monthly fee to subscribe to her account to then be able to message her, right? And that can be like I said, $5, $25 and onwards, okay? Whatever, you can choose. Now, that's not where the most of the money is made. Sure, for example, just one of our clients last month made 27 or 24, I think it was 27, $27,000 just from subscriptions last month. But you know what's crazy? She made an extra $140,000 in messages, right? So it's not like, yes, you can make a load of money in the subscriptions, but the vast majority is in the messages, and let me explain why, okay? So, like I kind of mentioned briefly, let me just clarify this point, is that the fans really want to get that connection with the creator, right? Ultimately, all they really care about, like what do they actually care about, right? The main thing that they care about is at least that feeling where they are closer to the model, right, the creator, and they build on rapport. They feel as if the creator is getting to know them, and so on, right? And also, they just want more content and also some custom content just for them. So maybe the model saying his name or whatever it might be, right? Ultimately, that's the real goal. Now, within OnlyFans, it's not like some fucking secret that a lot of these creators, they will work with agencies, aka you guys, to help them manage the chats, right? Now there definitely was a gray area for the longest time, whereas, where does that kind of leave you legally, ethically, etc., etc. But OnlyFans has adjusted their terms of services a long time ago now. And in their terms of services, so as a subscriber, when you're signing up, you obviously agree to terms of services. And I forgot the exact parts of it. You guys can fact check it. You guys can go on Google and check it yourself if you really want. But within the terms of services, it does state, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but it basically states that there may be a third party managing the account, right? Or assisting the messaging. Again, I forget the exact terminology and exact legal wording that they use, but the point is that as OnlyFans, as far as we're concerned, on OnlyFans, the terms of services do state that this may be happening. So yeah, it's all good. Now, and again, to go back to the main point of what these subscribers ultimately want, right, is they want faster replies and they want more content of the creator, right? Whether they know or they don't know that it's actually the girl replying or not, does it actually fucking matter? Like, think about it. Like, they're obviously never going to get to meet the girl anyway. That's not what this platform is. That would be an illegal thing, which I cannot even talk about, right? If they were to meet up and do anything, right? That is not what we're here to do. We don't encourage that. That's illegal, etc., right? So yeah, they're never going to meet them. So all they really care about is getting more responses, getting more replies from the model, which is, as an agency and as having chatters on board, is going to help, right? Because you're able to reply faster. Because if it was just the girl doing it by herself, she might only be doing chatting for about maybe an hour a day, 2 hours a day, right? So that, and then the second thing is more content, right? They just want more content of the girl. So again, if it's just the girl doing it by herself, maybe she's only making a bit of content once a month, right? Whereas you as an agency, you might say, hey, look, can we please get this content, this one and this one and this one, and keeping her, motivated and so on, right? So, and again, this is what I'm trying to say is, like, to be honest, there's actually a bigger benefit of having an agency on board for the subscriber than there not being an agency. Do you understand? Like, because if there's no agency and it's only the model doing it all by herself, her reply time is going to be super, super slow. And she's probably not going to create as much content as the subscribers wish. You see, it's interesting. Anyway, so as I've already mentioned, the next part is 80-20 split. So 80% of your income should come from messages, right? Messages and tips. So let me just explain real quick. If I remember from the top of my head, I think there's like 5 or 6 income streams. But the 3 main ones, at least, is subscriptions. So I already mentioned what subscriptions are. Then you have tips. Guess what tips are, guys? Who's gonna guess what tips are? It's fucking tips. And then messages, which is when you send a photo or a video in the messages and they unlock it, right? Now, like I said, 80% of your income or more should come from actually the messages and tips, okay? Now, why is that? Is because think about it, right? So if the subscription is $10, let's just say, right? Well, then it's pretty easy. You just have to sell one video for $80, right? In the messages, and all of a sudden you're on a 1-to-8 ratio, right? And then it's the whole 80 and 10, to be honest, but whatever. You get the point. So that is why it's so much easier to make more money in the messages. And also, as a subscription, let's just say it's $10 a month. That is literally $10 a month. Once a month, they're going to pay $10. Whereas messages, you can sell 2,000 in one day if you really wanted to, right? There's no limit as to how many you can sell in the messages. So that is why most of the money will be coming through that. Okay. And then just before we carry on, let me explain, first of all, what are scripts, because that is going to be the main thing that we're going to be covering today. And you need to understand what it is, how it works, why it works, and how you can make it work, okay? So most of the conversations, right, are going to be pretty fucking similar, yeah? So at the end of the day, we're talking to a bunch of, like, horny men. Just fucking enjoy. That's all the chatting team's doing, all right? Believe it or not, men are pretty fucking simple creatures, right? The conversation will go pretty much identical with a bunch of the subscribers, okay? So if you know that, then you can kind of play into it and almost systemize it, almost like conveyor belt the conversations, right? Because they're all gonna start like here, and then it gets progressively more intimate and more sexualized, and then until they wanna see the content, right? It's practically the same shit, okay? So it's kind of like, think of it this way, like if you've gone on a bunch of dates, like the conversations are practically the same at the beginning, right? Like, oh, like, tell me about this. What about your university? Where, all this bullshit. It's all the same thing, right? So yeah, same thing. So if we know that the conversations are pretty much similar and they're going to go down like this same similar pattern. Also, by the way, guys, leave a like if you haven't. Thank you so much. If you can leave a like on this video, I'd really appreciate that. So if we know that the conversation is going to go down the similar route, then what we can do is we can actually pre-make these scripts, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing, and I'll explain what they are in just a second. The second thing is, what you want to do with the chatting is to make it as an immersive experience as possible. So what do I mean by that? So if you are, the chatters are speaking on the model's account, and they want to sell a photo and she's wearing a red underwear, let's just say, whatever, right? And they send the picture and he buys it and he unlocks it. Also, just for some context, how it looks on the fan's perspective. He will be in the DM. Imagine it like an Instagram DM conversation, right? It's the same fucking concept. She sends a message, he sends one, back and forth, right? Now, when the model, aka your client or your chatter, is going to send the content to the fan, if it's a paid piece of content, you can attach a price tag to that piece of content. Actually, I don't know what's the lowest. Is it $4.99? I believe it's like $4.99 is the lowest, all the way to $200. So you attach the price tag, okay? And then what you do with that attached price tag is you send the content to the fan in the DMs, and from the fan's perspective, he gets the image, but it's completely blurred out and it's locked, okay? And he can just see the price tag. Let's just say it's $50 for this example. In order for him to actually see the photo or video, he then has to pay on OnlyFans the $50, and then that's when you and your agency and your model gets that $50, right? And OnlyFans as a platform, at the time of this recording, takes 20%, which is nuts, by the way. That is crazy. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but that is insane. That's crazy. So anyway, that's just to explain how it looks from the subscriber's perspective, okay? Now, if we know that the conversation is going to go down the similar route, and then the second thing that I was just talking about is you want the experience for the subscriber to be as immersive as possible. Meaning, you want it to be as realistic in the moment as possible, right? So the example that I was giving earlier is like if one photo, like one PPV stands for pay-per-view. So whenever I say PPV for context, I'm referring to one of these images that's locked and you send it as a payment, okay? So when you send one PPV and it's the model in a pink underwear, right, whatever, and he buys it, yeah, whatever, cool. But then you send, and then you're talking back and forth, and then you send the next one and she's wearing black underwear. Although physically, yes, you can obviously get changed. Okay, let's just use another example. In the first photo, she has pink nails, and then the next photo, she has yellow nails, right? Now, obviously, to the guy, probably doesn't give a fuck about the nails too much, right? Sure. But the main thing is that there's no synergy. It's obviously different photos and videos taken at different times, right? And what that does is it subconsciously tells the person, well, she's not really here right now taking the photos and videos for me right now, right here, right? Whereas if you can do the opposite and you can truly make this an immersive experience where the fan genuinely thinks that the content is being taken in real time and there's a synergy between all of it, you're gonna have a much higher chance of selling more content, the conversation flowing a lot smoother, and also just kind of systemizing the entire flow much, much easier. Because if you're not using scripts, which I'm about to explain to you exactly how they are, super simple, if you're not using that, then it's a bit all over the place, right? You talk to them, you sell them this piece of content, then you talk again, you sell this one, and they're all different prices because in the content she's doing different things and blah, 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 right? Whereas imagine if it was like, you know for sure the combo is going to go like this, so then the first content you're going to sell is this one at this price, then the next content is going to be at this price, which is slightly more expensive, and it's just systemized. Like you already know, before the fan has answered your message, you already know what he's going to say, and because you already know what he's going to say, you already have an answer to his answer, which he hasn't even said yet. It's kind of a bit of a mind fuck, but hopefully that makes sense. right? Okay, cool. So any questions so far about the script? Let me explain actually how it works. Super simple. Okay, so with the script, okay, super simple. The idea and the premise is the creator, right, the OnlyFans creator, he or she starts off fully clothed, okay? And then with each piece of content, with each photo and video, she gets progressively more naked and the content gets more intimate. Until some creators, they don't do full explicit content, which is fine. We've had clients in the past, tons of clients in the past, scale to $25,000, $30,000, $35,000 a month with just bikini photos and videos. The same shit you see on Instagram, the same stuff. So this is the other thing as well, right? It's like, I get it. Obviously, as soon as you say the word OnlyFans, to the average person who has zero context, they're thinking about like the most crazy, like the Bonnie Blues, right? And I get why their mind goes there. But believe it or not, that is actually not all of it. Like a large proportion of OnlyFans is, I wouldn't say, safe for work, technically, right? Because they're not fully naked. Anyway. But yeah, so that's the idea of a script, right? So the first piece of content, and let me explain to you guys, and I'll give you guys one script for free. I actually didn't plan on doing this, but fuck it. I'll give you guys one for free, okay? So, and also everything that I'm about to say here, this is essentially what we give to our clients, right? And we put this in a Google Doc, we neatly organize it, we explain it all, and we give this to our clients, and then they create it, okay? Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. So essentially, super simple. Version is the first one, let's just say it's a shower script, right? So each one, you can have like different stages, different scenarios in different locations and blah, blah. Also, obviously, this goes without saying, but if you're not 18 and over, please click off of this. This is 18 and over. Please, I'm sure this goes without saying. But let's just say the beginning of the script is her fully clothed and literally wearing a hoodie and a t-shirt underneath and a bra and whatever, blah blah, right? And she just basically takes a selfie in the bathroom, right? Like a mirror selfie. Cool. You send that one for free. The next piece of content might be her now taking the hoodie off and maybe her t-shirt off, and now she's just in her bra, right? And it's a video, by the way, right? So this is like a minute or two video, whatever. And this one can be, it depends on the client that you're working with. Some clients, they only want to go super expensive. Some clients don't mind starting a little bit lower. But let's just say for this example's sake, you are starting off at around $15, right? The first video is $15. Cool. You send that, you explain in the caption, like when you're sending it in the DMs to the subscriber, you're explaining what is happening in the video, okay? And then he buys it. Then you obviously do some more chatting back and forth, etc. You then send the next piece of content, and again, you obviously asked your client to pre-make all of this. The next piece of content might be her taking off her leggings now, so she's just in her underwear, right? And then again, you do some chatting back and forth, and then the next piece of content is when she's now fully naked. Like it's a video of her getting fully naked, and then the next video is her getting in a shower. Right? And then by the way, the price, every single piece of content that I just said, the price has gone from, $15 to $30 to maybe $70 to $150 to $200 and so on. Okay? This is like the most bird's eye view, simplified version of what is a script, what is the pricing, when to send it, etc. There is a lot more that goes into it, but most of you guys are just starting out, so I just wanted to explain it in the most simple terms as possible. Cool. All right, cool. So that's what a script is, all right? Cool. So, and also, by the way, like I mentioned, just to be clear, you ask your client to pre-make this beforehand. So you'd get her to do one in the shower, you'd get her to do one in the kitchen, and one in the bath, in the living room, one in her bedroom, and so on and so on, all right? Sweet. Dylan, how are you? I heard about the call that you had with Trim. Yeah, this just reminded me as well, by the way. For any of you guys that are new here, so this is kind of a little shameless plug / a little ad break. So at the end of these live events, which we have got only a couple left, I believe. But once we're done with all of these live events where I'm teaching you guys all this stuff, I'm going to be choosing one person from this type form that I just put in the chat here. So if you have not filled it out yet, you can fill it out. If you have already filled it out, like Dylan has, then don't fill it out again. right? Because it's just a duplicate. Like just because you fill it out more times does not increase your chances of being selected, just for context. But yeah, anyway, we're going to choose one random person that fills out this type form to fly you out to Dubai and teach you in person, like consulting session in person, whether to start your agency or scale your existing agency, depending on who you are and where you're at with your agency, right? Depending on who we choose. Obviously, like I say, random, like it is going to be anybody from the people that fill out the type form, but I will vet you guys. Like I'm not just going to choose a random serial killer and fly you out to Dubai, right? Bit of context. But anyway, yeah, Dylan, for example, is one of those people. Dylan was one of these people that filled out the form. Truan reached out to him. Truan is somebody from my team. So yeah, when you guys fill out the form, there'll be somebody from my team that will reach out to you guys and have a quick chat. Okay, cool. Let's go back to what we were talking about. Okay, so the next part is the welcome message, okay? So what is a welcome message? In very simple terms, on OnlyFans, it actually helps you to set up a bunch of automations. Like OnlyFans themselves try to help you automate a few little things here and there. And welcome message is one of them. As you can imagine, it's kind of what it says. It's a message that gets sent to new subscribers to welcome them, right? And you can customize it however you want. You can have no welcome message, you can have just text, you can have text and image, you can have text and video, you can have images and video, you can have it as a PPV as well. So you can, as the first message gets sent, it's like a locked one, so they have to unlock it and pay, etc. Now there is absolutely no right or wrong. What works for one person might not work for a different person, and you have to just test a lot, right? But one that you definitely cannot go wrong with, and this works for everybody, is a conversation starter, right? Just a general conversation starter. Just think, what would you say to get somebody to just reply and start a conversation, right? Pretty simple. So yeah, that's my personal advice, is do not have it as like a bunch of pictures and videos or locked or PPVs and so on. Don't try to get them to do anything. Just a general conversation starter, right? What would you like me to call you? What's your nickname? What made you subscribe? What do you want to see? Right? Simple as that. And that's a conversation starter. A lot of people don't use it, or a lot of people use it wrong, I should probably say. You also have what's called a mass message and a mass pay-per-view message. So a mass message is, again, this is an amazing thing within OnlyFans. They will let you automatically send out messages to everybody at once. So you type it out only once, you click select all, and you send it as a mass message to everybody. There's a whole strategy behind that as to how, when, and who to, etc. But we're not going to go into too much detail about that today. We're just going to keep it super simple. And then mass pay-per-view message is the same idea, the same concept, apart from you are attaching a picture or a video to it, which they can obviously buy and unlock, right? Obviously self-explanatory. Okay, cool. So let me explain how the chatting typically will go, right? Like this is the most average conversation with the average subscriber, and obviously it can go left, right, up, down, and so many different ways, okay? So first things first, and this is in a chronological order, right? So first things first is you're gonna get some info from the subscriber, and you're gonna build some rapport and add all that to the fan notes. So what do I mean by that? So build some rapport as you would with anybody, right? So your chatters are going to just simply speak to the subscriber, whereabouts are you from? Like I said, what made you subscribe? What do you want to see? Blah, 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 right? Like you can even ask things like, what do you do for work? What are your hobbies, right? Etc. You can ask all these things and just you build some rapport. And the key here is as you're gathering all of this information, you want to be adding it into what's called fan notes, okay? The notes section. Because here's the thing. If you have only 5 subscribers, it's pretty easy to remember their nickname, their hobbies, what they do for work, and etc., right? When you have 4,000 of them, which is what one of our clients has, it is impossible. There's absolutely no way you can remember all of that every time. Obviously not, right? And instead of having to rely on a third-party extension, like, I don't know, some CRM, like Pipedrive or Trello, and add all of the fan names and then add notes in there, you can do it within OnlyFans or on Inflow. It's the same thing, right? So as the fan is giving you the context about his occupation, where is he from, his hobbies, and blah, 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 you want to be adding all that information into the fan notes, because what you're trying to do is build that rapport with him over, a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, etc. And one of the best ways to build rapport is obviously by remembering people's name, or like aka nickname, just remembering things about them, right? So like, for example, if your chatter is speaking to somebody, and then the next day, they come back, and let's just say on the first day they said that they work as a delivery driver, right? And then the next day they come back, you don't have to like guess or go again. What do you do for work, by the way? If you just asked them that yesterday, that feels stupid. And obviously that means the subscriber would leave and etc. That's a bad story, right? So instead you should keep all of the notes on the fan notes, right? That is going to ensure that's how you build those relationships with the fans, and also that is how you're going to get whales, okay? I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's one step towards building somebody into a whale. Also, for anybody who is brand new to OFM and doesn't know what the term whale means, most of you can probably guess it, but it's just like a big spender. Just somebody who is spending a lot of money, right, to your client. Okay, cool. Anyway, so in order of chronologically, in an order of what typically happens, is the very first part, you just build a little bit of rapport, okay? So like I said, where are you from, etc. Then most likely the conversation will lead to like a sexual convo, right? Either the subscriber will do it, which most of the time they do, or your chatter will try to, or you obviously need to train your chatter, or if it's you doing it, then obviously you. You will then need to obviously bring that conversation over to you being able to sell some content, right? Because if the conversation is not sexual in any way, then obviously you'd be a bit random trying to sell a titty picture for $5. It's like just so random. Like if you're talking about, I don't know, just a walk in the park, and then bow, $5, please buy this. Like what? Like I wasn't even ready. So yeah, obviously, either your chatter or the subscriber should lead the conversation over sexual. Obviously, it's super simple. Like, hey baby, what are you doing right now, by the way? Oh, I'm just in bed, I'm blah, blah. And you get the idea, right? And then once that conversation has led a bit more into kind of the sexual side of things, you would then simply proceed with selling the scripted content as I've already mentioned. So, and then you can combine the two, and what I mean by that is, let's just say the scripted content is the shower script, as I mentioned earlier, right? So your client, the OnlyFans creator, has pre-made, so she's already taken the photos and videos of her in the bathroom and then getting in the shower and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, I'm gonna try and keep it as PG as possible, not having to explain all the details, but obviously you get what I'm saying, right? So your client has already made all this content, you already have it in your OnlyFans, right? But then your chatter should, just to make it obviously even more believable, before he's even sent any of the pictures or videos, right, from the script, already a text message is saying, oh yeah, it's actually getting pretty late, I'm gonna have a shower soon. So the guy's already thinking, well, obviously when you go in the shower, you're gonna get naked. Duh, the fuck showers with their clothes on, right? So by just saying that with the words, it's already insinuating that obviously that's gonna be the next thing. And then when you start selling the scripted content, which is obviously the client in the bathroom, then getting in the shower, all of it just seems immersive. It's all connecting, all the dots are connecting, everything is starting to make sense, okay? All right, cool. Keep it exciting and always give them a reason to come back. Okay, this is the next part. So this is a big one that a lot of people miss out. So, and that's, by the way, like that's genuinely like as simple as I can explain chatting, that is it, right? So gather information, then typically transition the conversation into a bit more sexual, and then eventually you want to go ahead and start selling the scripted content. Okay, cool. But then here's the last part that most people miss out. Most people do that, and then they just kind of leave it at that, right? The last part, which is super important, is you want to keep it exciting and always give them a reason to come back. So if somebody has just gone through the script, right, and also, by the way, this is how quickly and how much money you can start making, right? Like the script, if somebody goes through the entire script, that should be anywhere between $500 to about $800. And that's one script. with one subscriber on one night. And like I said, we have over 4,000 subscribers and we do this stuff every day and night, right? So you can imagine how quickly it starts to speed up, right, and collect. So anyway, yeah, so the last part, which is keep it exciting and give them a reason to come back, okay? So with this section, what I'm trying to say here is after he has gone through the entire script, and let's just say he spent $600, right? You don't just want to end it there and be like, okay, good night, and that's it. You want to give them a reason to come back. So, oh, tomorrow I just ordered this new toy or this new underwear set and I can't wait to show you. It's getting delivered tomorrow. Anything along those lines. You can use your imagination, your brain, to try and think of a million other versions of what I just said, right? But you want to give them, at the end of the script, every single time, a reason to come back tomorrow and come talk to you the next day, all right? Or maybe, hey, I'm going to be home all day tomorrow, come talk to me, or etc., etc. Okay, cool. You can also sell custom content to the fans. So this is something that I haven't even mentioned about. So what I said so far, I am reading the chat here and there, by the way, guys. Another thing as well is custom content. So everything that I've spoken about so far was pre-made content, okay? Unlike this live stream, because this is not pre-made, this is live. But everything I've spoken about so far is pre-made content, yeah? So the opposite is obviously to actually genuinely create real content, real time for the specific fan. So what do I mean by that? Is sometimes the fans will come on, like the subscribers, and they'll say, can you record a 5-minute video of doing whatever, imagine whatever he would fucking want, and then saying my name on it, okay? So for that, you obviously have to charge a lot because it's going to take physically time and effort from the model to create this content, okay? But there's absolutely no reason why you guys shouldn't do it, yeah? So if the client is happy to do custom content, then by all means, you guys can sell custom content. Just try not to go too heavy on it. Because if your client has to wake up every single day, as in your OnlyFans model that you're working with, right? If she has to wake up every single day to having to create like 20 custom videos, I'm telling you now, like you're not gonna have that client for very long. It's so much effort, so much effort. So you can do them every now and then, you know, but I would not recommend you guys to do it all day, every day. Okay, cool. Okay, next is you'll want, okay, so that's basically explaining the premise and the concept of chatting in a nutshell and like a bird's eye view. Obviously there's so much that goes into it, but that's like so you guys understand what, how, and why the chatting works. Now, let me go into a little bit of detail about how to outsource the chatting. So instead of you doing it all by yourself, how can you get somebody to do this for you, right? Because ultimately, like newsflash, obviously sexting a bunch of horny men is not the most exciting thing in the world. I'm sure none of you guys really want to do that, right? So then how do you outsource it? How do you get somebody to do that shit for you? So let me walk you through it. So when you're just starting out, you will just want to have 3 chatters, okay? If you really want to just start off, you can just have 1, and then eventually you get the second one, and then eventually you have the third one. But as like an overall bare ass minimum, in order to manage an account, so the messages are being answered 24/7 throughout the entire day, you'll need a minimum of 3 chatters, okay? And within these 3 chatters, each one of them is doing 8 hours, 8-hour shift. Understand? So one chatter works for 8 hours. He or she logs off, finishes their shift. The next one logs on and does 8 hours. The second one finishes their shift, logs off. The third one logs on, okay? And by the time the third one has finished his or her shift, the first one has already slept, eaten, whatever, and it's the next day for him. And then he's coming on board and doing his shift again. And that rotates over and over and over and over and over, okay? And that is in very, very simple terms, how you manage an account for 24/7 or 20 hours, 7 days a week, okay? Now, I kind of just said there, 7 days a week. So obviously these people need a fucking break. Like you cannot just have them working 7 days a week, all day, every day. So eventually you're gonna want to hire more chatters, right? To fill in those gaps. So the Saturday, the Sunday, etc., to cover that. But eventually you will anyway, right? You'll start off with 3, then you have 6, then you have 9, then you have 12, and you'll eventually keep jumping up in these teams of 3, okay? And also, of course, the most, like the peak hours are obviously in the evening, right? So we're talking kind of 7 p.m., 8 p.m. onwards, yeah? And that's typically, like for big accounts, for some of our creators, just for those peak hours, we have an extra 2 chatters that come on board, just for those hours. They don't do the morning or the night shift, but just for those peak hours, and there's an extra 2. Where can you hire these people? In short, online, but from places like South Africa, Philippines, South America, etc. Because in these places, obviously the currency exchange is in your favor. If you're from Europe, if you're from USA, your dollar or your euro goes very far. Whereas in these countries, like the currency exchange is in your favor. These are some of the most hardest working people that I've ever met and come across. They're very smart. However, the problem that they face is, well, maybe they have English issues like spoken English. Maybe they don't have the confidence to close clients, etc. Right? So they're very hard working people. They're ready to do the work, like the chatting and so on. But there's always something stopping them from themselves going out and closing a client, right? And look, obviously, it goes without saying, like, you typically will want to work with people from the same country as you, right? So a British OnlyFans creator will want to work most of the time, obviously there's exceptions, but most of the time they'll want to work with an agency in the UK or from the UK, right? American creators will typically want to work with an agency in the US, right? Like, that's not a fucking newsflash. That's typically how these things work, right? So that's why these people, they are ready to work, but for whatever reason, they cannot get the clients themselves. And this is where you can bring them on board on your team, okay? And you're essentially what's called like arbitraging talent, okay? Cool. And then after you've gotten, 3 chatters, then 6, then 9, and then 12 chatters and so on, and you're the one managing everybody, eventually what you want to do is either promote one of your chatters or just hire a chatter manager. So this is a role now that is essentially replacing yourself from having to manage all of these chatters all day, every day. And you now can take a step back and focus on anything else, on marketing, on client acquisition, on branding, whatever you might want to do. But you now have this one person who manages all of the chatters, right? And you, as the business owner, only talk to this chatter manager. And that's it. You no longer now have to deal with fucking managing 12 people. You just manage that one person. Cool. Guys, I'm gonna have a fucking pee break, BRB. Put your questions in the chat, whatever questions you guys have about chatting, I'll answer them. I'm gonna be right back. All right, guys. So let me see what you guys are chatting about in the chats. I lost a work yesterday due to my country. It's very painful. Do you have a model already? Keep doing outreach. Okay, anyway. Do you guys have any questions relating to chatting specifically? So how the chatting works, when it works, who, what, where, when, why. I'd like to learn how to draft scripts. Also, for anybody who is obviously brand new here, of course, I do also have a paid side of everything that I'm just showing you guys right now. This is a very, very condensed, summarized version of everything that I teach inside of my paid community. So if you're interested and you're like, man, this all makes sense, I really need this help, you can message me on Instagram at Marcus Hustle, same as my YouTube, and then you can learn more about that there. You can book a call with us. And also fill out the type form if you guys haven't already. So Brian said, where would you get chatters that speak both English and Spanish? My models are Latinas. So short answer is South America. I forgot the exact name of the country, but there is definitely a place in South America that both they speak Spanish and English. There was also another one where they speak Portuguese and English. So it depends on obviously what you want. And then of course in Africa there are places where they speak fluent French and English. I'd like to learn how to draft scripts for difficult subscribers. Aubrey, what do you mean by difficult subscribers? You don't really, what's the word? You don't really like draft scripts for difficult subscribers. Like that will be manual. So you will just have to manually handle each one of those situations where either they're trying to like haggle the price, like to get it lower, or they're saying like, oh, I can't unlock it right now, or whatever it might be, you know? For those, pretty much always you have to handle those manually just because each conversation will be completely different. How do you set up KPIs for the chatters? Skin, that's, or Jake Tyler, that's a great question. So how do you set up KPIs for chatters? For anybody who's brand new to like business as a whole, KPI stands for Key Performance Indicators, which is just a fancy term to be like, how do I measure the success of what my staff are doing, right? Or how my business is doing. So for us at least, like the three main KPIs that we track is the response time. So how quickly or late does it take for them to actually respond to a message? It should not be any longer than 5 minutes. The second thing is how many messages are being sent out per hour. So the volume of messages being sent out per hour. This is tracked on Inflow, by the way, you can see that. And the last one is how many PPVs are being sent out per hour also. Now, between these, there is like the golden ratio, and then there's like an unlock ratio and so on, which we do also track. But those are the three main KPIs that we track to see whether a chatter is performing good or bad, whether they are on track, you know, to do well, or they're slacking. Okay, that's a great question. How do you create different scripts based on each model or location, or just generic scripts? KDC, that's also a great question. So again, the script, just to be clear, by the way, it's more like a template that we give to each one of the models. So don't think of it as like we fully like have all the text written out and how they're going to respond. Don't think of it as an actual script, like he says this, she says this, blah, blah. Think of it more like first photo and video, do this, and we just describe it. Second photo and video, do this, and we describe it, and so on and so on. This template, we just give it to each one of the clients, right? It's slightly different for each person, but overall, that is essentially the concept of it. And also the like here's the other thing, right? Obviously, like the scripted content, like think about it, it's all going to be technically the same thing. She's fully clothed, she gets a little bit more undressed, and a little bit more undressed, and more undressed, and then she's fully naked, and then the script ends, right? The concept is obviously going to be the same. So really all you're changing here is the location and what she does in the content, you know, as she's getting progressively more undressed, etc. Do you understand? How often would the model have to make, how often would the model have to make contents for PPVs? How often would the model, so how often should the creator make content for PPVs? So we have our clients doing new content every single week for all of our clients. They all create new scripts, new vault content, new feed content on OnlyFans every single week. Sometimes, obviously, if they're traveling or whatever, if they can't do it, then they can't do it. But we do always send them new script ideas, new content ideas every single week. How many scripts should a beginner create realistically? If your client can make new content every single week, then that's fantastic. There's no like only create 4 and that's it. We can end it here. If you can do 2 a week, like 2 scripts every week, then that's fantastic. Just for some context, it's probably roughly around, I mean, I've never made a script, so I don't know, but I'm assuming it's around 3 hours of work, each script, just because she obviously has to get, she has to get dressed and do her makeup probably and do the lighting and so on, and then she has to record the whole thing actually. But yeah. If you're just starting OFM, when do you plan to start hiring chatters? So again, there's no right or wrong. You can do it straight away, as in like you can never do the chatting yourself. You can outsource it from the get-go if you wish, or you do the opposite, which is straight away, you go ahead and you outsource it, right? There is no right or wrong. There's pros and cons of both. If you want my opinion, I would highly recommend you to do the chatting yourself for about a month or 2, and then you hire somebody, because then at least when you hire somebody, you can train them from experience, right? And also you know what's going good, what's going bad. Whereas if you've never done this before, you don't know if the person you hired is doing a good or a bad job. McAnthony, I don't know why that's funny. How do you get content ideas for the model? I mean, you just think of them. There's no like magic sauce. You just think of the content ideas. How many pics or videos for a script? Iris, that's a good question. So how many pictures and videos per script? Again, there's no right or wrong. The short answer is the more the better. I would say a minimum of about 3-4 photos, and then also about 5-6 videos. Like that would be the ideal. Are you going to give away Notion templates during these lives? Aubrey, I don't use Notion, bro. I know what it is. We tried to in the past. We just thought it was a bit too complicated. Like, I'm sure after a while, once you've gotten used to Notion and you can fuck around with Notion super easy and you're familiar with it, it's probably the best thing in the world. We just don't use it. We just keep things super simple. Okay, cool guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you very much for everybody for joining. Tomorrow we're doing another live stream exactly the same time. So every single one that is here, make sure you join the live tomorrow. Leave a like on this video as well, please. On the live events, I've been told by very important sources at YouTube, joking, I Googled it. But if you guys could please leave a like on the live stream, that would be very good. Thank you so much. There's 41 people here apparently right now, which is pretty cool. So yeah, if you could leave a like on the live, that would be fantastic. And I will see you guys same time tomorrow, okay? So make sure you tune back tomorrow and I will see you guys then. Thank you so much and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Oh, also fill out the type form in the chat if you haven't. Good night.